The movie starts with a teenage girl singing a song along with the lyrics in the car and just enjoying the sound of her favorite singer. Her name is Riley, and she's with her father Cooper, who's taking her to the Lady Raven concert. The car stops in traffic and Riley asks her father to move fast, but her father says he will safely take her to the concert in no time, and the next moment, they reach the destination. Cooper and Riley join a crowd of excited teenage girls outside the venue, watching Lady Raven, a popular singer, step off her tour bus. As they wait in line to enter, Cooper notices an unusual number of police officers patrolling the area. Once inside, the heavy police presence catches Cooper's attention again, with officers stationed everywhere. Trying to be his best dad, Cooper films Riley as she dances with a group of girls and buys her some snacks. During their conversation, Riley confides that she feels excluded by the other girls at school. As they continue to walk around, Cooper observes even more cops and extra security cameras. Eventually, they find their seats and listen to the opening band, though Cooper can't help but notice the police stationed in their section as well. When the concert begins, the loud screaming from the crowd forces Cooper to cover his ears. After a few songs, he tells Riley he's going to the bathroom. However, once inside, he secretly uses his phone to check a live feed from a security camera. Unknown to Riley, Cooper is a serial killer, and he is monitoring his latest victim, Spencer, who is imprisoned in a hidden room at Cooper's remote house. Cooper washes his hands in the bathroom and vividly imagines his mother standing beside him. As he tries to shake off the vision, he notices more police vehicles surrounding the venue. Leaving the bathroom, he bumps into Jody's mom, who reassures him that teenagers can be strange, but promises that her daughter will start including Riley more. Cooper returns to his seat, but before that, he has a discussion with the usher, who tells him that this concert is a setup to catch the serial killer. Just in time, Lady Raven shares a heartfelt story about her missing father and how she learned to move forward. She then asks the crowd to turn on their phone flashlights, and the arena lights up as she begins playing the piano. At that moment, Cooper notices police officers escorting a man away from the crowd and others lined up behind him. Cooper takes Riley to buy a concert t-shirt during the intermission, but they're out of her size. The seller, Jamie, promises that more are on the way. Seizing the opportunity, Cooper casually asks about the heavy police presence. Jamie hesitates, but eventually admits, despite being sworn to secrecy, that the police received intel that the notorious serial killer known as the Butcher is at the concert and that they're here to capture him. She explained that every person leaving the venue was being checked, and all exits except the backstage area were under tight surveillance. Cooper laughs awkwardly, masking the fact that he is the very killer they're hunting. Afterward, he drags Riley through the venue under the guise of looking for a snack, while checking the exits and confirming that they're all blocked by police. Spotting a drunk woman near the stairs, he subtly pushes her, causing her to fall. The officers at the entrance rush to assist her, and Cooper seizes the chance to slip out, only to find even more police waiting outside. Realizing there's no way out, he reluctantly returns to the concert with Riley. Lady Raven then announces a special guest, and a platform rises from the stage, revealing another singer. Staring intently at the open hatch in the stage floor, Cooper tells Riley it would be fun to sneak in and see where it leads. However, Riley calls him out for his odd behavior, forcing him to stay and avoid drawing suspicion. Frustrated, Cooper watches as the hatch closes. Later, Cooper returns to the t-shirt stand and notices Jamie heading toward the supply room. Observing, he sees Jamie using a key card to access the room. With growing interest, Cooper quietly follows, formulating a plan. Cooper pretends to help Jamie move boxes inside the supply room, while stealthily pocketing the key card. As they work, Jamie brings up the Butcher, admitting that he's been obsessively following the case, unaware that he's speaking to the killer himself. Jamie even shows Cooper some gruesome photos of the Butcher's victims on his phone, proudly boasting about how all the employees received special training for the day and were given a secret password, Hamilton, to identify themselves. After getting Riley her t-shirt, Cooper uses Jamie's keycard to sneak into the employee break room. Inside, he discovers several cops reviewing the details of their operation. They agree that if the Butcher is spotted, they need to apprehend him away from civilians. Cooper, now posing as an employee by attaching Jamie's card to his jacket, moves through the group toward the snack table, listening in on their conversation. Nearby, he notices a photo of his most recent crime scene on a bulletin board. When one of the officers asks for sugar, Cooper quickly retrieves it to seem helpful and avoid suspicion. Before leaving, Cooper discreetly steals a police radio from a nearby bag. As he exits the corridor, he runs into Jody's mom again. She grows visibly frustrated when he tries to brush her off, and their heated exchange catches the attention of two nearby officers. Before the situation escalates, a man's scream echoes from the entrance. The officers rush toward the commotion, where other police are in the process of arresting someone. Cooper's blood runs cold when he spots Josephine, one of his closest associates, among those being detained. Back in his seat, Cooper discreetly places an earbud in his ear and tunes into the stolen police radio, listening intently as the operation continues to unfold. Cooper learns that the man the police arrested wasn't the butcher, but a panicked thief who assumed the cops were after him for another crime. As officers walk through the crowd searching for another suspect, Cooper hears a description broadcast over the police radio. A white male in his 30s with an animal tattoo on his right arm, exactly like him. Thinking quickly, Cooper grabs a bracelet from a nearby girl's bag and slips it to cover his tattoo. Checking the venue map on his phone, he tells Riley he forgot his credit card at the t-shirt stand and leaves again. As he listens to the police radio, Cooper hears that the FBI is setting up tents around the building and installing barricades on the main streets. Briefly, he considers pulling the fire alarm to create chaos, but he notices a security camera pointed directly at him. To make matters worse, he hears Josephine on the radio, predicting that he might try such a trick. Thinking on his feet, Cooper sneaks into a nearby burger stand and sabotages the fryer. After leaving the area, a worker checks the fryer and finds 2 bottles floating in the hot oil. Suddenly, the bottles explode, causing panic among the customers and drawing the attention of nearby police. As the chaos unfolds, Cooper grabs an apron and blends in, using the distraction to make his way to the roof. However, there are officers stationed there too. When questioned, he claims he needed some air after the kitchen incident. The officers confirmed the situation via radio but still demanded the secret code. Cooper confidently replies, "Hamilton." Despite giving the correct code, they insist on seeing his employee card. Fortunately, Cooper finds a wallet in the apron's pocket, complete with a venue ID, which satisfies their suspicions. Before leaving, Cooper casually inquires about Josephine. The officers mention that she's a seasoned profiler with a reputation for catching serial killers. Cooper's unease grows as he realizes he might be facing his most formidable opponent yet. Back downstairs, Cooper spots the injured kitchen worker, her face marked by severe burns, with another hallucination of his mother standing beside her. Shaking off the vision, he rejoins Riley, who is increasingly concerned about his strange behavior. Cooper explains that Jody's mom had cornered him again, but Riley reassures him, saying she's finally made friends with a girl sitting next to her and no longer cares about her old classmates. As they return to their seats, Riley excitedly tells Cooper that this is part of the concert where Lady Raven picks a girl from the audience to join her on stage and tour backstage. Seeing a potential escape route, Cooper approaches one of the crowd handlers and tells a heartfelt lie that Riley recently recovered from leukemia and that Lady Raven's music was her inspiration. The police are edging closer to their spot, but to Cooper's relief, his story works, and Riley is chosen to go on stage. Both receive backstage passes, and the handler coordinates with a nearby cop to let them through. Riley, though nervous, steps onto the stage when Raven calls for her. Cooper watches his daughter's moment of joy, trying to relish it while ignoring the looming threat of police around him. In the audience, Jody and her mom seethe with jealousy at Riley's big moment. After the performance, Cooper notices a girl nearby collapsing. Instinctively, he picks her up and asks the staff for a place to let her rest. This earns him and Riley entry backstage, just as Josephine closes in on his last location. Cooper helps the sick girl calm down, offering her some juice. Grateful for his assistance, the concert manager allows them to watch the rest of the show from a prime spot next to the stage. Sensing an opportunity, Cooper asks the concert manager if they can leave through the backstage door to avoid the crowd. The manager agrees. However, after the concert ends, Cooper hears on the police radio that every male leaving the venue will be thoroughly checked. When he tries to slip out with Riley through the backstage door, he realizes the police are also blocking it. In a nearby room, Cooper overhears Josephine telling Lady Raven that the venue security cameras have captured photos and data of every attendee. Hearing this, Cooper feels the noose tightening around him, knowing his every move is being scrutinized. Growing desperate, Cooper approaches Lady Raven and asks to speak privately about Riley's condition. Once inside her dressing room, Cooper drops his facade and confesses that he is the butcher. He shows Raven a live video on his phone of Spencer, his latest victim trapped in a cell. Cooper reveals a button on the screen that, if pressed, will release carbon monoxide into the cell, killing Spencer before the authorities can reach him. He threatens Raven. If she cooperates, Spencer will live. If not, he will die. Faced with no choice, Raven agrees. Raven informs the police that Cooper and Riley will be leaving with her in her limousine, allowing them to bypass the security checks at the main entrance. Josephine grows increasingly frustrated as the meticulous screening process delays the crowd, but no sign of the butcher is found. During the limousine ride, Cooper instructs the driver where to drop him off so he can pick up his car. However, Raven unexpectedly asks Riley if she can visit their home. Thrilled, Riley excitedly calls her mom for permission. With no other option, Cooper forces a smile and gives the driver their home address instead. When they arrive, Cooper's wife Rachel and their other child warmly welcome them. As they all head inside, Cooper discreetly reminds Raven that Spencer's life still hangs in the balance. Any attempt to betray him will result in Spencer's death. Raven, visibly uneasy, tries to enjoy the family's warm hospitality while searching for any chance to outmaneuver Cooper without risking Spencer's life. Over coffee and cake, Rachel excitedly asks Raven how the concert went. Keeping her cool, Raven describes the police operation to catch the butcher, explaining that the FBI found a receipt for a concert ticket in one of the butcher's fake houses, which prompted them to contact her and set the plan in motion. She mentions that Josephine has been studying the butcher for some time and concluded he's a white man in his 30s or early 40s, holds a position of authority, drives a dark-colored car, and has a troubled history with his mother. Cooper grows visibly uncomfortable as the profile hits close to home and suggests that it's getting late. However, Raven offers to play a song on the family piano and invites Riley to sit beside her. While playing, Raven discreetly steals Riley's phone. After finishing the song, Raven suggests they take a selfie. When Riley realizes her missing phone, Raven smoothly hands Cooper's phone, pretending she thought it belonged to Riley. She takes the selfie and then asks to use the bathroom. Once inside, Raven locks the door and begins rummaging through Cooper's phone. Outside, Cooper grows frantic, pounding on the door. His erratic behavior starts to make his family suspicious. Inside, Raven manages to contact Spencer and ask him to recall his location details. Spencer describes the door's color and mentions a nearby statue. Using this information, Raven quickly starts a live stream on her phone, sharing the clues with her followers. Soon, someone will recognize the area from the live stream and contact the police. Raven also instructs her driver, waiting outside, to call the cops. Meanwhile, Cooper's phone locks again. Raven suddenly screams inside the bathroom, "Cooper is the butcher!" The door swings open, revealing a shaken Cooper, sweat dripping from his forehead, as his family looks on in shock. Raven, still clutching her phone, stares him down as sirens wail faintly in the distance, growing louder. Cooper grabs his phone to check on Spencer and realizes he's gone. Overwhelmed by rage, he drags Raven to the garage, retrieves his crime bag and shoves her into Rachel's car, inadvertently confirming Josephine's theory about his dark-colored vehicle. Raven, trying to defuse the situation, adopts a calm and motherly tone, but Cooper is unmoved. He coldly declares that she will be his final victim before he ends his own life to stop the monster he's become. He sees his family blocking his way as he opens the garage door to leave. Though he had locked them in Riley's room, he had overlooked the tree outside the window, allowing them to escape. The sight of his family confronting him shocks Cooper, who hesitates long enough for Raven to break free from the car. Police sirens grow louder and officers arrive, escorting Rachel and the children to safety. Meanwhile, Cooper rushes upstairs to his closet, moving a few items in a frantic attempt to salvage his plan. As the police storm the house, they uncover a tunnel in Cooper's closet, leading to the neighbor's yard. Cooper uses this route to slip away undetected. Meanwhile, Raven is escorted into her limo, now driven by an undercover police officer posing as her chauffeur to ensure her protection. However, the limo soon comes to a halt. The officer enters the back seat, handcuffing Raven to a metal bar. To her horror, he reveals himself to be Cooper in disguise. Having escaped in a stolen police uniform, Cooper resumes driving, informing Raven that he's taking her to one of his secret hideouts to kill her, a desire he's harbored ever since seeing her perform on stage. At a red light, Raven seizes her chance. She rolls down the window and screams for help, urging bystanders to call the police. A crowd quickly gathers, surrounding the limo and preventing it from moving. Cooper grows agitated as he notices Rachel's clothes still in the car, inadvertently leaving behind traces of his other life. Meanwhile, Raven struggles with her handcuffs, managing to loosen the metal bar. She bolts from the vehicle with a burst of strength just as the real police arrive. Chaos ensues as the crowd scatters in fear. The officers, unsure of the situation, open fire on the limo. When they inspect the wreckage, they find it empty. Cooper has again slipped away, blending into the fleeing crowd in a nondescript hoodie, leaving only a trail of chaos and unanswered questions. Later, Raven is taken to one of Cooper's crime houses to meet with the authorities. She thanks one of her followers for identifying the location that led to Spencer's rescue. Relieved, she checks on Spencer, who is safe and receiving medical attention despite being shaken. Meanwhile, Rachel returns home after dropping her kids at her sister's house. Despite Josephine's repeated insistence that she should stay in hiding, Rachel refuses, determined to face whatever comes. Josephine reluctantly departs, leaving officers stationed outside the house for protection. Alone in the house, Rachel watches security footage of Spencer's kidnapping while making herself a cup of tea. The atmosphere is tense. Suddenly, she's startled as Cooper sneaks in, having slipped past the officers unnoticed. Suspicious and enraged, Cooper accuses Rachel of betraying him, convinced she's why his secret life has been exposed. Reluctantly, Rachel admits to her actions. Weeks ago, she began suspecting Cooper of having an affair, only to uncover something far more sinister. She noticed the faint smell of hospital cleaning chemicals on his clothes and witnessed him lie so convincingly to a neighbor that it sent chills down her spine. Her suspicions drove her to follow him to one of his secret houses, where she planted the ticket receipt that eventually tipped off the FBI. Anonymously, she called the police, hoping they would find evidence to connect him to the crimes. Cooper's fury boils over. He removes his shirt, disgusted by the lingering smell of chemicals, grabs a knife from the counter and advances on Rachel. Thinking quickly, Rachel distracts him, calmly offering him a slice of the pie Riley baked earlier that day, reminding him that today was supposed to be a day of celebration for their family. Her words momentarily disarm him, and Cooper agrees to eat, watching her take a bite first to ensure it's safe. As Cooper eats, he begins to monologue, explaining how killing usually brings him peace, a twisted form of therapy. But Rachel's betrayal has only fueled his rage, driving him to the brink. He declares his intent to kill her before taking his own life. Suddenly, Cooper starts to feel dizzy, his vision blurring. Too late, he realizes that Rachel had laced the pie with sedatives she found in his crime bag. As he struggles to stand, Cooper hears his mother's voice and sees her standing in the doorway, calling him a monster. Overwhelmed by hallucinations and memories of his troubled past, Cooper breaks down in tears, staggering toward the vision of his mother. At that moment, the police burst into the house, surrounding him. Cooper, in a final act of defiance, lashes out, knocking one of the officers unconscious. Before he can strike again, Josephine arrives, armed with a second taser. Together with the remaining officers, she subdues Cooper. As he's handcuffed and dragged out of the house, Cooper appears momentarily calm. Spotting Riley's fallen bicycle in the driveway, he asks for a moment to pick it up. The officers hesitate but ultimately deny his request, hauling him away as Rachel watches, her face a mixture of relief and heartbreak. Just as Cooper is being escorted into the police truck, the officers bring Rachel's kids home. Riley sprints forward, tears streaming down her face, and wraps her arms around her father. Cooper kneels, embracing her tightly, whispering something inaudible into her ear. As the officers pull him away, Riley sobs, and Rachel, holding the other child, watches silently from the porch. Cooper steps into the back of the police truck, his face calm and expressionless. As the vehicle drives off, he suddenly grins, tilting his head toward the small crowd watching. Slowly, he raises his wrists, revealing the cuffs no longer bind them. With a triumphant smirk, he tells a story about Riley's bicycle, which he had stolen earlier and used to pick up the lock. The officers in the truck noticed too late as Cooper burst into maniacal laughter, the sound echoing even as the car disappeared down the road. Later that night, Jamie sits on the couch flipping through channels. A picture of Cooper flashes on the screen. Realizing he had unknowingly assisted one of the most dangerous criminals in the country, Jamie panics, trembling at the memory of every interaction he had with Cooper.